Alright guys, this is Algebra 1-7. Okay, 1-7 is on simplifying expressions. So let's talk about some simplifying expressions. Well, one thing we are talking about in this lesson are different types of properties, commutative and associative properties of addition and multiplication. Okay, these properties allow you to move numbers around. So if you understand how the property works, and it makes it a little easier to get through the math with less steps. So if we had something like 1/3 times 5 times 33. All right, well, commutative, who comes first? And all three of these are actually being multiplied together. But this fraction, remember, fractions just mean to divide. So since we have a fraction here, then we're actually going to divide this 3 into these numbers. Now, just to show you a faster way of doing this, instead of multiplying this number and getting a really large number and then dividing by 3, commutative property tells me that I can actually cancel this 3 into this 33 at 11. So now I'm left with 1 times 5 times 11, which is basically just 5 times 11, and we know is 55. So again, knowing the properties allow you to move through the math a little faster. All right, let's try another one. We have one with addition. 45 plus 16 plus 55 plus 4. All right, again, commutative property of addition this time lets me know that I can group these numbers together and then come up with a final answer. So I could actually go ahead and group these numbers together. Well, with commutative property, I could even flip some of these around. Let's just have some fun with this. I could even do 45 plus 55, because those are both 5 numbers. They'll be a little easier to add, okay? And then I can even do plus 16 plus 4, because again, these are both even type numbers, so it makes my addition a little easier. So group these two guys together. My pen is not working here today. There we go. Okay. And now I can go ahead and add these together. 45 plus 55 gives me 100, plus, bringing down this plus sign right here, 16 plus 4 I know is 20. So you can move numbers around to make the math a little easier for yourself. See, I put the 5s together because I can add up by 5s really easily. Put the even numbers together because I could see easily that 16 and 4 would give me 20. And then my final answer is 120, adding those two values together. So again, using these properties can make things move a little faster. All right, now let's try something like this. What if we have 15 and 1/3 plus 4 plus 1 and 2/3? All right, well, on this one, obviously when I go to group, using my commutative property again, I'm going to group the two sets of fractions together. So I'm actually just going to move this one over here underneath this one over here. So I'm going to make it 1 and then 2/3 over here. Okay, so just moving this guy to join this one over here because they're similar. So I have common denominators. Good, that's always exciting. So I just keep the denominator the same. And I add the tops. 1 plus 2 gives me 3. And then 15 plus 1 gives me 16. Well, we know that 3 over 3 always equals 1 whole. So this is actually now 16 plus 1, which is 17. Now see, by grouping those fractions together, look at the numbers I have left to add. I have this 4, and I have that 17. So 17 plus 4 gives me 21. So instead of finding common denominators for all of them and moving all around, use your properties to help you. Okay, how about 410 plus 58 plus 90 plus 2? All right, again, group the ones that are easiest to do. I see I have 2 here ending in 0. That would be an easy group. So I'm going to do 410 plus 90 in one group, And then I'm going to add that to my other group of my even numbers. 58 plus 2. Now, of course, if you don't want to regroup these, you could just add them all the way across. That's no problem. So 410 plus 90 we know is going to give us 500. Bring down the plus sign. And 58 plus 2 is going to give us 60. Add those two together, and I get 560. Okay? Let's try another one with those fractions, like the one we started off at the beginning. I have 1/2 times 7 times 8. I wonder which number that 2 could divide into. Well, it can't divide into 7, but it can divide into 8. So I'm going to divide that into 8, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. So now we have 1 times 7 times 4, which we all know would be 28. All right, now the next property we have is going to be distributive property. Distributive property looks like this. If we have like 5 times 59, I'm going to distribute this 5 into the parentheses. Okay? Now, I could rewrite this here as 60 take away 1, just if you want to do it something like this. Okay, still multiplying by 5, so now if I separate these, I would have 5 times 60 minus 5 times 1. So you're breaking it up using the distributive property to kind of make this go a little faster. So I know this is 300 and this is 5. So very quickly I can come up with 295. Again, could you multiply just 59 times 5? Sure, you'll get the same answer. Let's try this one. We have 8 times 33. All right, well, I know that that is 30 and 3. 30 plus 3. So if I multiply 8 by both of them and add them together, I'll get the same answer. So 8 times 30 I know is 240, because 8 times 3 is 24, and then add the 0. Plus, again, 8 times 3 is 24. And then adding those two together, I get 264. All right, so using distributive property can kind of help you along a little bit. All right, then we have things called like terms. If I gave you something like this, 4x minus 3x plus 2, let me give you some labels. All right, these two are what we call like terms because they are similar, they're alike. They both have an x at the end. This one does not have an x, so that's why it was not included. In fact, this one is called your constant. It's the one that always is constantly going to be the same because it can't be changed by a variable. Okay? So, we also have things called coefficients. Coefficients would be something like 1x squared plus 3x. The coefficients are going to be the numbers in front of the variables. And I'm just going to abbreviate this, coefficients. Okay, so numbers that go in front of the variables. So let's try a problem. If we had 7 times x squared minus 4x squared, first thing I can do is pull out an x squared. So I'm going to pull out this x squared, and I'm left with 7 minus 4. Well, bring down my x squared. What is 7 minus 4? It is 3. And then slap those back together. 3x squared. Now you could do this without doing that extra step. You could just do 7 take away 4 and get 3 and just x squared. That one's an x squared and that's an x squared. So again, two different ways to do that. Let's try this one. We have 72p minus 25p. And again, you can pull out the p and then subtract those and then put it back. That's up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and subtract these. 72 minus 25 is going to give me 47. 47 what? 47p. All right, how about one with a fraction? 3/4 x to the 4th plus x to the fourth. Now, one thing you always want to remember is there's an invisible 1 right here, okay? If you want to draw it in, that's fine, but you can't count it as a 0. There is a 1 there. Well, I need common denominator. So if I have 3/4, what fraction would go over here to equal 1 whole that also has a 4 on the denominator? Well, it would be 4/4. So I'd get 3/4 x to the fourth plus 4/4 x to the fourth. So now my denominator is the same. I can just add straight across, and I get 4, denominator stays the same. 3 plus 4 equals 7, x to the fourth. And you can leave it like that. That's fine. Now, what do we do if we have two different variables that are not the same? Something like this. 5.5m plus 2.5n. What do we do when that happens? Well, can I mix an m with an n? Nope. So this is the answer. So you just leave it just like so. All right, well, I hope this helps you on your homework.